Hello and welcome to Beyond the Scale, Weight Loss and Wellness. I'm your host, Coach Monica. I'm joined today by Coach Darcy, and we are here to guide you through the ins and outs of a lifestyle that's transformed not just our lives, but the lives of countless women navigating the waves of perimenopause and menopause. Whether you're here to shed weight, understand your body better, or simply find a community that gets it, you're in the right place. So sit back and enjoy the next few minutes as we tackle the hot issues of today. Have you ever caught yourself saying, I've tried everything, but it just doesn't work for me? Or perhaps you felt a fleeting sense of victory only to find yourself back at square one, wondering why you can't seem to maintain your success. Maybe you struggle with seeing your own worth, believing deeply that you deserve a healthier, happier life. Or you've come face to face with the reality that food is just more than nourishment, that it is an addiction and it has its hooks in you very deeply. Today, we're going to share stories of those who have ridden the roller coaster of weight loss, gaining, unpacking emotional baggage that often accompanies this journey. We'll talk about moments of clarity, the painful yet realization that it's not only a necessary but urgent change to make. And what about the science? With so much information out there, it's easy to feel lost, unsure of who or what to believe. We are going to demystify the science and offer clear, compassionate guidance on navigating these waters. Most of all, we're going to confront the hard truths, the work that challenges us, the change that pushes us out of our comfort zones, and the last-minute wake-up calls that come with dire warnings from our doctors. My friend, you're not alone on this journey. Together, we're going to uncover the belief systems that stand in our way. We're going to embrace the change with open minds. Let's start this conversation, shed the weight of our past, and step into your future. Coach Darcy, I am so glad you are here today to co-host this show with me.
Yes, I'm so glad.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing fabulous. Just fabulous. It's a
so
gloomy
far
day.
The internet. I know.
Yes,
it makes me
right.
nervous.
You know what? We're gonna make it through.
Well, this is the second time we've cut this show because of our internet. So we're gonna see if we can push through this thing today. Hopefully we'll get a clear internet signal, but it is very gray here. My internet seems fine. Yours is on yellow right now. So
Sure is.
Makes me nervous. But we're gonna post this one, or we'll go back and we'll listen to last week's, and maybe last week's is better. Either way, you're gonna hear this, whether it sounds a little choppy because of the internet or because it's gonna be beautiful, right?
All right.
So today we're going to talk about belief systems. Belief systems are so deeply ingrained in us. And I think they're deeply ingrained in us because we have lived in diet culture and we have gone around and around and around the hamster wheel. We have started a diet, we've finished a diet. We've started a diet, we've gained back more than we lost. It is so up and down that we have created this almost automatic belief system, and there's about 10 of them that we're going to talk about today. But these belief systems hold us back from losing the weight that we want to lose. And so we're going to start out the show today by just kind of going through each one of them and talking about how we get over these belief systems so that we can be victorious when we're losing weight. You and I both have done this, right? Darcy, share just a little bit about your story. How did you do this, and how much have you lost? And we always have new listeners, so we always have to introduce ourselves.
Right. So I lost a total of 70 pounds, and for me, I was definitely going about losing that. I had a good why, but then as I was losing the weight and more so being in my maintenance, that's where I was really struggling. And I had a what you call body dysmorphia, because for some reason I forget easily, and I think we all can relate to this, that we forget easily where we may have been before.
Mm-hmm.
Comfortable in our own new skin. So that's kind of where it started for me, is having to definitely work on the mental side of because the way, I mean, it's a great safety net. It's a healthy way of living, and it works. So
Yeah.
when something works, and it's definitely with some hard work, and determination, and you're only focused on the weight loss part, you kind of have to then catch up on the mental side, because there's a lot
Yeah.
of trauma and triggers from the past that may have not been figured out. So
Yeah. So what you're saying is the journey never ends.
it never ends. It never
And
ends
what
at all.
and and there's no one that's listening to this show today that will get a pass because your journey is alive. It is like a living creature. It changes, it morphs. You'll figure something out, and then down the road you'll figure out something better that works better, and so it never ends. And so that's
Right.
kind of similar to mine. I lost 120 pounds, and truly, you're right. The journey begins when you lose 120 pounds. There's a lot of bumps along the way and a lot of stuff you figure out along the way. But during, the time that you're losing the weight, your judge and your measure of success, even though we say we don't want our clients to do this, measure of success is when you hit, when the scale starts to fall, or you get off of some of your blood pressure medicine, or those things are so visible. But when you get to maintenance, you are coasting, and the goal is for the scale not to move. And so you have a whole entire different battle when it comes over to this side of the journey. So today we're going to talk a little bit about some of these mindsets that give us a false negative sense of the weight loss journey. And I'll start us off with the first one, which is a false victory number. So many clients come to us and they have this magical unicorn number on the scale in their head that they want to be. That when I hit the number 135, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be healthy, I'm going to be me again. And so they come to us with this number that society casts on our lives as women and men. And they say, okay, I'm not going to be happy until I hit that magical number. Well, that magical number will come. But the problem with that is that if you base your health journey on that magical number, when that changes, you're going to get a lot of you're going to get a lot of restlessness. You're going to get a lot of frustration. Do you have when you work with clients? Do you find that they come to you kind of with that attitude of I'm going to be happy when I hit this magical number?
Yeah, and if it's not hitting that number, it doesn't matter how much hard work that they've done, they are still and the non-scale victories that we talk about,
Mm-hmm.
where their clothes are practically falling off or are falling off of them. It doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
to them. It's just for some reason this number that they desire to
Mm-hmm.
be is speaking so much louder, and they can't be successful. They can't be happy until they see that scale on number on the scale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
And what you say is so true. Their clothes could literally be falling off of them, and they come to you in a session and they're so upset because
Yeah.
that scale didn't move this week. Well, they lost their pants,
They
but
did.
they don't see that. And so those
No.
those false victory numbers really created a stress and almost an identity crisis for people. Another one is I've been there before and I've failed before. Can
Yeah.
you talk a little bit about that one?
Absolutely. I do know that we hear that they've been on a journey before, many journeys, the yo-yo diets, whatever is the new trend. They're so desperate to try it because they want to be happy and healthy. This is okay. Like, we all want to be happy and healthy in our own skin. Um, but when they train and they've lost a certain amount of pounds, they start to, you can see them kind of drift away. They start to get panicked. They start to fear because they're nearing a number that they've never surpassed before. Because every time they get close to that scary number, they start to be like, oh, see, this isn't going to work. And somehow they end up self-sabotaging themselves, and they fall off the wagon. They begin to not trust the coach. They, fill in the blank of the things that start to resurface again, because
Mm-hmm.
they don't believe that they are capable of moving past a certain number on the
It's
scale.
like a self-fulfilled prophecy.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Like
is.
I
Um,
prophesied over my journey before it even began because I've
yes.
never been 140 before, and so I won't get there this time. And there's
Right.
a saying that says, "What you believe will happen. What you believe won't. What you don't believe will happen." It's whatever you tell your mind is going to happen. And so when
Hmm.
we have those clients who say, "I've never been there before. I must not be able to," sometimes they're right because they
Right.
have just made that happen in their life.
Right.
So,
Which then goes nicely into our next point of the self value, because
hmm
they are, not valuing themselves enough to go that number, to be able to
hmm
try even harder, or to trust anybody else to guide them through all the things that their body might need. It
hmm
goes deeper than that with self value. When we are decide that, oh, I'm able to take 3 months off of our schedule to focus on my health, but then once that 3 months is up, then I'm going to start putting more things on my schedule because I
hmm
I don't come first anymore. I don't need to take care of myself.
hmm
Other people have waited long enough that for those 3 months that's really hard. Now I get to refill my schedule and do the cycle all over again.
hmm
There's other things where with self value, things from your past start to resurface.
hmm
You Those are a lot of the scary things that start to come during anybody's lifestyle journey if you're not doing the mental side of the work. So,
Right.
do you have anything to add with the self value?
Yeah, well, it's like I sometimes explain it as like an onion, like peeling the layers back on an onion. When you lose weight, a layer falls off. You don't know what's underneath that one. And typically, I'm gonna project and say about 90% of the women that we work with struggle with this value, this self-value. They have put everybody else first their entire lives. They've been trained that way. We're mothers, we are caregivers, right? And so we have put everybody else first. We have been last, which is why our health failed in the first place. And so what we try to instill in our clients is that when you take care of you first, it's everybody else who benefits from that. How are they going to benefit from your journey if you don't take care of yourself and you die early? Who
Hmm.
wins there? So when the self-value, if we work with a client say strictly on macros, that client fails because we don't work with the self-value and the emotional side of it. And yeah, they may, and that's the real big danger right now that we're having with these weight loss shots is, yeah, the weight's falling off, but their minds are not healing. Your mind has to heal at the pace your body heals. Otherwise, you're going to gain the weight back. It's
Right.
just automatic. And so that's what I fear so much with this weight loss shot is we are missing a whole set of healing processes and things. We're going to talk about it in an upcoming podcast about life coaching skills. And we're missing a whole bunch of that in the healing process for these clients. And they will heal lopsided, which means the weight will come back. So self-value is one of the hardest things that we as coaches deal with is instilling the self-value and getting the self-care into the lives of our clients. It's almost like wrestling a greasy pig, right?
Right. So, Monica, this next one is more on your specialty area. But I just want to kind of introduce it because we've seen it before, even before you got certified, or what do you call your certification of your
Um,
specialization in
yeah,
addiction?
holistic medicine of addiction is the official term. I'm a licensed
Okay.
food addict recovery coach
Right.
in
Right.
simple terms.
So, like, we saw this, or we even knew this was a big thing to focus on, um, with people. Yeah, we would see a food addiction spirit in them, and they struggled losing the weight. Um, but when people realized that they truly are addicted, we started to be like, oh, this could go different ways, where it could be an excuse, a crutch to be like, I'm okay with this, or the other one. What do you typically
Mm-hmm.
see when it comes to when they truly
Yeah.
realize that they're addicted?
Yeah, and that is so important that you say that because, and the reason, and there's actually a scientific reason backing up what you said, is because 80% of our current clientele are actually chemically addicted to food. So the
Wow.
statistics out there, because of the big food industry and what they've put in our food, they have created a chemical addiction to ultra processed foods. And so there's a reason. It's just half of our clients have not gotten to the point where they have admitted that they are food addicts. And so they're half of our clientele are in the wrong program, really. And so we try to work with both sides of that. But you're right. You can use this if you discover, and there are ways to tell. If you go to our website, on our front page of our website is a sugar test right now. You can go and you can take it for complete freeness. Costs nothing for you to take that, but it will tell you if you are chemically addicted to sugar. And when I say sugar, that is all processed foods. That is all the white stuff, the flours, the sugars, all of that stuff, the carbohydrates. But we have had clients who have taken that test, who have actually enrolled in our food addiction treatment center and said, "Oh, wait a minute, I'm a food addict. There's nothing I can do. My brain is broken," and they use it as an excuse. And
Yeah.
they go on their consistent binging, right? And then on my side of the aisle, this is what happened to me when I was diagnosed as a food addict. It was the best day of my life. I realized that I could no longer moderate my food. Because always in the back of my head, I'm like, you know what? I can moderate just a little bit. All of those young, skinny health coaches out there saying you could eat anything you want with no consequences, and they're just vicious out there. And I bought into that. And I'm like, well, maybe I can. Well, then I would go on a 30-pound sugar binge, and I would get frustrated with myself. And so for me, when I found out, because we teach from an abstinence point of view, when I found out I was a food addict, there is no moderation for me. And so it was the best day of my life when I realized I was a food addict. Now, if you're on the other side, you've got to realize that there's no healing for you until you take the first step of
Yeah.
Overeaters Anonymous and admit it.
Yep.
It's the same with
Acknowledge it. Yeah.
Alcoholics Anonymous, right? Admit
Right.
that you are powerless over food. When I did that, wow, that was crazy. Hey, Darcy, when we
Right.
come back, I
Yeah.
want you to talk about our next one of the not truly wanting to change. I want you to tackle that one. But before we do that, we want to make sure that you are equipped with what you need on your journey. And we have two Facebook groups that are completely free, where Coach Darcy and myself are a full-time presence in these groups. So we want to take just a second to send you to those particular groups. And when we come back, Darcy's going to talk about this next one about people not really wanting to change. Hey, it's Coach Monica here. Guess what? If you're fed up with feeling stuck in your battle with weight or food, I've got something just for you. Check out our free Facebook groups. Over at Food Addiction and Recovery, I'm over there waiting for you. We're going to walk this journey together. It's about getting real, sharing our stories, and lifting each other up. We're in this together every step of the way. And if you're curious about changing your life with keto, the Weight Loss Project is where you want to be. Coach Darcy is amazing. And together, we're not just talking about losing weight. We're talking about finding a happier, healthier you. So, what do you say? Are you ready to join us? The links are in the show notes below. And I'm telling you, this is more than an invite. It is the start of something great. We cannot wait to see you over there. All right. Make sure you find the links to those pages directly in the show notes below. We've got those there every week for you. So go join
Yes.
both of them. You'll get some benefits from both of those groups. I know I'm in the one. So funny story, Darcy.
Are
So
you? Wait, are you in my
you're
group?
I am in your
Are you
group.
in my
Yes,
group?
I'm in
Okay.
your
Okay.
group.
I was
Well,
just
and
gonna check.
sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I don't know in your group, and this thing will come across my Facebook feed called the Weight Loss Project, and I'll be like, "Oh, wow, that's great stuff there. I've got to join." And it's your group.
It's me. Lots of stuff. A lot of
Yeah,
informative things.
yeah,
So
yeah.
have you ever met anybody that when you're in like maybe at a restaurant, a buffet restaurant, or church gathering where it's a potluck, things like that, where you have like an array of like things that people bring from dough to casseroles to just everything carb loaded, and everybody's shoveling it into their face, and they're like eating this, and they're like, I could never go on a diet because I could never give this up.
I live in Amish
That
territory. It's all Amish up
oh,
here, and they love
right.
noodles and mashed potatoes and pie.
Yes. Yes, and around
Mm-hmm.
here we love pastries, and we love the new trendy places that have these cakes, and oh, it's amazing. Yeah, like cool if you can like live your life and be okay with consuming these products that are just, I mean, triggering that dopamine, those happy hormones in your brain for a second, then that's awesome.
But they
Um
can't. That's the thing, Darcy. They can't. Even if they were
no.
skinny, skinny sick
Right.
people, you
Yes.
can't eat that stuff
Right.
and remain healthy.
Right. It affects us all in in a way similarly,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
where some of us carry that weight on the outside and some of us carry that weight on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
You can think that you are going to exercise that off, but lo and behold, you're not. You're not going to do it.
Right.
Um, so it comes down to truly not wanting to change. When people were that mindset of I'm not wanting to give this type of food up, this drink up, like because let's think about it. It's like it's the Coca-Cola, those sodas that you're
Mm-hmm.
constantly drinking. It's even those sweet teas that you're not willing to give up.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes and it brings up the point of what you talked about in the addictions part, where if you don't acknowledge it, you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to do any of that change. So it comes down to, if you're truly not going to want to change or give up the things that are causing you to be sick,
Mm-hmm.
then you're not going to change. You're
And
going to
that's
stay the
why
same. Actually, I take that back. You will change because you're going to continue to get sicker.
continue.
That's what's going
Yeah.
to happen.
Yeah. And that's why, again, the weight loss shots don't work because that masks a problem and that these people think that all they have to do is take a shot. I have some friends on Facebook who are on the shot and they will out and out say, I don't have to change any of the things I eat. I don't have to because I'm losing the weight and I don't have to change anything. And it just sends me through the roof because they're not going to be able to afford $1,000 a month every month for the rest of their life. And if they're not willing to change now, they're not willing to change after the shot. And then the problem is the weight comes raging back faster than they can catch it. And they're right back only worse than when they started. And we have this issue with our clients too. The clients who are not willing to take 30 seconds out of their day to track their food, to track their macros, they don't really want it. And I have had
Right.
to have several tough conversations this week of, well, come back to me when you really want it. There comes a time when I can no longer work with a client, and we do fire clients. And I'll get a message from I'll get a message from the clients who are on point this week saying, Monica, did you mean me? Last
No,
time I
you're
did
doing the
that.
things.
Nope. If you're doing the things, if you're tracking, you are on target. But if you're not tracking your food and you're not willing to take 30 seconds out of your day to write down what you put in your mouth, you don't want this bad enough. And there's nothing
Right.
we can do. All we can do in our sessions is talk about the weather,
Yeah.
you know?
And
And
it
I don't
kind
get
of
paid enough
mixes
to talk
in.
about the weather.
Right. It mixes in with our next topic of overcomplicated
Oh,
schedules.
jeez.
When you're not willing to make for you and that change, you're not
Mhm.
going to change. That schedule's
No.
always going to be busy. There's
Yep.
always going to be that excuse to be like, "Oh, well, I have this and this. I have no time to track. I have no time to my food, no time to fill
Mhm.
in the blank of what you're putting in front of you."
Mhm.
But to me, that goes into, you truly don't want to change what you're
Right. Right.
busy, chaotic life. And as you continue to enjoy this busy, chaotic life where you're not making the time for yourself,
Mhm.
then you truly, again, will never change. You will
No.
not lose that weight. You will not get healthy until you are able to use that word no and
Right.
say, no, I
No is a
can't fit
complete
this in
sentence.
it is. I can't fit in my schedule. No,
Mhm.
I can't add this next thing. I can't volunteer. I can't, fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
But until you're able to do that, you just expect yourself to not change,
Mhm.
to not move forward in lifelong health
Yeah.
change that you desire.
We've come to this conclusion that we, in and of ourselves, are the only one that can save this world, and the entire world depends on my shoulders, and that is why
Mm-hmm.
we are so sick. No is a
Yeah.
complete sentence, and if you're not willing to change your overcomplicated schedule to bring down your cortisol and to allow you to sleep, it was the most beautiful experiment. A couple of weeks ago, I had a client who had come to a kind of a weight loss stall, and when we took apart her and this is something as a coach that I know it's true, but I'm like, do I really believe it? Kind of like, does sleep really have to do anything with weight loss? And I'm like, it's
It
just
does.
sleep, right? So she come to find out she had been really stressed and she wasn't sleeping and she didn't gain weight, but she was not able to lose weight. And I said, okay, we're getting rid of everything. We're not doing any fasting. We're not doing anything crazy with your calories. We're not doing anything except you're going to work on sleep for the next couple of weeks. Weight started falling off. Crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even
Yeah.
believe this as a coach, but it's true.
It is so
Like
true.
sleep.
I have a similar story, and I believe to this day when this client does not get a good amount of sleep,
Mm-hmm.
that the hormones that we create when we're sleeping
Mm-hmm.
aren't getting created in it, and it does scientifically, it spikes your glucose, and
Mm-hmm.
in the present, like when it spikes your glucose, it spikes your insulin. In the presence of insulin, you cannot lose weight. So
Yeah.
it is amazing how it works.
Yeah.
So what's
And
our next?
I'm going to stop the show just a minute just to apologize once again for the sound. We're going to go with this. Typically we do a recut. I think it's better this week than our first recut. We still have some glitches with Darcy's microphone. So hang on, hang on. It's a cloudy day, both where she and I are, and I'm hoping that that's what the problem is. And if that's the case, then there's nothing we can do about it
No.
except record on a sunny day, and we've got little kiddos to deal with. So anyway,
It
so
seems
hang tight
it
with
seems
us.
like it seems as if when I talk, that's when my lines go yellow. So maybe the Lord's saying, "Don't."
Well, no, because we did our live on Tuesday, and everything was perfect, which was good because
Yeah,
we are on video for our live. So we're thankful for that because right now you are a blurry mess. I can't even hardly see you. So
great.
that worked out well. Right now, all we need is the sound. So we apologize for that. So let's go on to the next one. Um, and it bleeds over to what we just talked about, not wanting to do the work that makes them uncomfortable. People want to look at my before and after picture and your before and after picture, and they want to think that this was done in 6 weeks. They want to think that this was easy for us. And because we're coaches and because it's our job to be optimistic, it's our job to walk our clients through the dark seasons. It looks like everything is peaches and cream. It looks like we had a great time of it. We had to do some uncomfortable stuff. We got rid of sugar. We got rid of carbs. We got rid of the bad mindsets. And so we had to do the uncomfortable stuff too. And not only that, but we have to really do the uncomfortable stuff now. Not only have we lost the weight, but we have to keep it off. Number one, it's our career. So that's always, I probably need counseling for this, but it's always at the back of my mind, right? That's my career. If I gain a pound, my clients will know. I deal with imposter syndrome all the time. But frankly, you got to do the uncomfortable stuff. It's not easy losing 120 pounds. You have to do the hard things. You do the hard things now or you do them later. When you're at the doctor's office and he says, I'm sorry, ma'am, you have type 2 diabetes. We're going to have to take that foot, right? You do the hard things now or you do them later. Same with your weight loss shot. You'll do the hard things at some point, right? It may not be now. Now, although I think vomiting, projectile vomiting, and pancreatitis, I think all of those things kind of are hard. But people on the internet are like, I don't even care if I'm projectile vomiting. I'm losing weight. Apparently, that's not hard. It would be for me because I am diabolically, not diabetically, diabolically opposed to vomit. That's just me. But you'll do it now or you'll do it later when you stop the shot and the weight comes raging back. So tell me, Darcy, this is an impromptu question. You got it. Tell me, what was something uncomfortable that you had to do that you didn't like on your weight loss journey?
Oh, what did I have to do? I had to, well, be noticed, if that makes sense.
You had to what?
I had to be noticed.
Okay.
As I was losing my weight, it's when people start to say, "Oh, hey, what are you doing? You're losing weight. You're looking great." Blah, blah.
Oh.
I had to be noticed, and I was on a spotlight. I didn't like the attention, but
Ah.
I also felt like I needed to justify the science behind
Mm-hmm.
doing it. And so I had to learn. I had to
Mm-hmm.
be able to explain myself to people. Well, here's the problem here, as I didn't have to.
Yeah.
I felt like I had to, but that was my choice and my
Uh-huh.
feelings. So, and I tell you what, it is when I'm speaking when my yellow light goes on. It's on my I
Oh.
apologize.
So you
But
can
that
tell.
is I
Yep, it's
can tell.
yellow.
It's yellow and I'm talking. So that is kind of my, out of my comfort zone. I had to accept that the way and because I was eating differently,
Mm-hmm.
people are always going to be curious. Oh, well, why don't you eat sugar? Why don't you do this? So
Mm-hmm.
the spotlight was on me and I didn't necessarily like it, but I embraced my
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle. I embraced, saying, well, I can eat that stuff, but I choose not to.
Right.
Having responses like that. So
Right.
that's
That's an
where I would
interesting
respond.
perspective. I love
Yeah.
live questions like that because I would have never thought of that one.
Oh,
For
you're
me,
welcome.
it was tracking. It wasn't even giving
Mm,
up the sugar that was hard for me. It was tracking. It was taking the time, and our clients will probably agree that it is the most annoying thing. But having an accurate sense of what you're putting in your body and gives you an accurate measurement and gives you an accurate tool on how to get the rest of it off. So a lot of people don't like tracking. Most people don't like giving up processed, convenient food. The packages are
mhm.
our nemesis. Those quick
Yeah.
packages that everything
Convenience.
comes in. Yeah, that is uncomfortable. You actually have to go home. Oh, by the way, so on my Facebook page,
Squirrel.
squirrel. I'm hungry. I haven't had breakfast yet. So I posted that cheesy everything but the bagel on my post
Yeah.
yesterday. I switched it up a little bit yesterday, and I did Greek yogurt, almond flour, and cinnamon. Rolled it in cinnamon, and I had donut holes,
I
sugar
did
free.
that.
Did you really?
So good. I did. It was
I'm
so good.
I'm finding that Greek yogurt, is a great base for baking. Like you can
Mhm.
do a lot of stuff. Anyway, squirrel.
Right.
If you want that recipe, go to my Facebook page. You'll
Yes.
find it right there. Go to our
I need to
KM
make
Health
the
Coaching.
squirrel noise.
You need to make the what?
Oh, you have a squirrel like a noise button that says squirrel moment.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true.
We'd that kind of an interesting way of they bark. Do you know
They
that?
do. Oh,
They do bark.
They make my husband very angry because he's a hunter. And apparently they sit in the trees and they mock him and they can sound like a deer, and he gets very
Can
angry
they
with squirrels.
really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
and they scare
interesting.
the deer away. So yeah, squirrels aren't that great.
Okay. Well, they're cute.
Oh, I keep holding on to your internet. I keep holding on. Right now you're green,
Yes.
so hopefully we can
Yes.
finish the show here.
So
All
let's talk
right.
about what you pinpointed about the convenience, Monica, like how
Mm.
you talked about how we like the convenience of just being able to go out and buy our
Mm-hmm.
food and it already be pre-made. What is the problem with that?
The,
What
pro-
is the pre-made stuff?
the problem is called ultra processed foods, and that is where they completely destroy any kind of nutrient. They tear it apart, they build it back up into a chemical. And those chemicals that they use actually are giving you cancer. They're feeding an addiction. They actually go straight to the dopamine receptors in your brain, and they cause you to be chemically addicted to foods.
Mm.
And it is the most dangerous form. It is the same as a heroin addiction. When you take a PET scan of the brain and you look at somebody on sugar, and when I say sugar, I mean ultra processed foods. It means, plus it makes us a very lazy culture. I'm sorry. If you can't take time to run home and create something that's nutritious for your family, and you'd rather run through the drive-through and feed them this crap, and I was that way as a mom. I was that way, but shame on me for doing that. I should have fed my children better. I should have fed myself better, and I wouldn't have been in the spot that I was at. But I allowed my addiction to convenience, and frankly, I was lazy. There's no other way to say it.
I would say that, you know, we work ourselves to the point of exhaustion. So I think that can roll in there as well. Is that we, and then we are too exhausted.
Exhausted lazy. Yes.
Yes. So
yes, 100%.
I would roll that one in there.
Yeah. 100%. We're exhausted. We are stressed out to the max. We're exhausted. The last thing we want to think about is creating a dinner for anyone. So it's easier to go order a pizza. It's easier to go. I was the same way. I was working 3 jobs, right? I had a daycare of 15 kids. I was exhausted when they left. And so that makes, it's a reality that we're living in. But that is the reason why we have these problems. If we could undo that, and if we could just commit to maybe taking Sunday afternoons and doing some meal prep, when we're not tired, when we have those things, being okay with boring food, that's where I am now. I coach 80 hours a week. I'm exhausted. And the last thing I want to do is cook food. And so I'm okay being simple. My husband is not. And so I do have to take that into consideration.
Yes. Right. So I think our last one, Monica, is a really important one. And you kind of you pinpointed it a little bit when you talked about the diabetes and the limbs starting to have to be taken off. Why do we wait to that point where we are, pushing aside our illnesses, our symptoms, and we keep pushing it aside. And then it takes the doctor to say, hey, listen, here's the reality that if you don't fix something now, you're going to die, or you're going to have, fill in the blank. You're going to have your limbs cut off, or you're going to have, we have to probably double up on medications that you don't want to take. Like, there is so much that you could probably fill in that blank. So,
and this one hits home this week because we have our 30th year class reunion this year. And I just got word this week that I lost a classmate. And I happen to know that this classmate had called me and said, listen, the doctor just said, I have to change my lifestyle. I have to change. And this was about 2 years ago. And she had said, the doctor said that I have to change, that I've been diagnosed with this disease and I have to change really quickly. And how do I do that? And unfortunately, she didn't stick with the program. And I have to go to her funeral on Monday. And so it's a wake-up call for me because I'm 48 years old and I'm like, wow, life is very, very short. But this is exactly what happens when people put it off. And typically they don't want to change something until the doctor says it's life or death. And sometimes we have time to change that, and sometimes it's too late. When you are diagnosed with insulin resistance, that is 10 years before you're diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes causes all of the death. It causes you can lose limbs, you can lose your eyesight by the time you're diagnosed. You've got a warning. When you have insulin resistance, you've got a warning. This is your wake-up call right now that you can reverse insulin resistance, which will reverse type 2 diabetes. But going back up to the previous one, people don't want to do the uncomfortable things that will heal their diseases of human civilization until you have a diagnosis and it's too late. My friend lost her life because it was too late.
You were knocking years off of your life. Yeah. That you could be possibly living longer. But we knock off life every single time we make poor choices.
Yeah. The doctor's not just saying these things when you go. There's this movement right now that says, oh, the doctor just is weight shaming me every time I go. Doctors are terrified to talk to us in realistic terms now because we get offended over so many things. Well, obesity is a massive problem. Obesity is a symptom that there is something else going on in your body. And in order for him to address that, you've got to allow him to do that. Don't get offended. I wish someone had offended me and said, Monica, you are 250 pounds. My sisters didn't do it.
No, because I like my life.
I wouldn't have changed until I was ready, right? I wouldn't have. I mean, it's just that it's just the ultimate truth.
It comes down to you can have all the people around you sharing something with you about their health style change, and you can feel guilty about not doing that change yourself because you have all of these things that we had just spoke about in front of you. And it comes down to you have to do the initial acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Nobody else can do it for you.
No.
You have to make that first plunge into the waters. And yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, it's going to be challenging. Yes, you're going to have ups and you're going to have downs. You're going to have, things enter in front of you that make you try to change the course. But when you are intentional, when you have things that you decide not to put in front of you, like, temptations, exit ramps, all those things that we talk about, and you get yourself a part of a group so that you or even a coach like us, somebody to help you prevent any of these topics that we talk about happening.
Yeah.
That is what you need to do. Nobody can do that for you. Money can't do that for you. It could help you, but medications can't do it for you. You've got to do it in another way.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so true. In fact, I follow a lot of health people on TikTok, and I follow the ones I don't agree with just because I want to see where they're coming from. And of course, it was a skinny little about 23-year-old girl saying the most harmful thing that anyone has ever said in diet culture is nothing feels better than skinny feels. Nothing tastes better than skinny feels. And she said that is the most damaging statement that you could ever make. And I'm like, first of all, young lady, you have never had a weight problem in your entire life.
Right.
You're coaching these people, these women, and letting them know that they can eat anything they want, and you're not talking to a food addict right now. But as someone who has been 250 pounds and someone who now is 150 pounds, I can tell you there is nothing that tastes as good as the way I feel now. And I'm not skinny. I am not skinny by any means. I still have body fat on me that I'm still working on. I'm constant progress. But I can tell you that is a true statement for me. There is nothing. We walked by, it was Easter Sunday last Sunday. And so you'll know by the time we post this, kind of what day it is today. If we ever post this one.
I don't know.
I think we're going to post this one. I think this is a little better than the first one we cut. But somebody asked me, because there was a whole spread of donuts out on the table, and they were my favorite kind. And somebody asked me, aren't you tempted? And no, not a single fiber of my being, after being sugar-free for the past 7 years, did anything tempt me. There's nothing that I could put in my body that would be worth going back to my knees hurting, to the obesity, to the way I felt before about myself. So yes, nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. Maybe she didn't like the word skinny. I don't like the word skinny either.
I don't like either.
Healthy.
How about health? That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, why would we not use the word healthy?
Exactly. Yeah.
Your own personal healthy.
Nothing tastes as good as that feels.
Yeah.
Being able to go to the doctor now and not have her yell at me about my blood pressure,
Right.
Not
find a thing. Not find a thing wrong with how your body's going.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I do. I would love her one time to say, Monica, I'm proud of you for what you did. But she hates keto, and so she will not say that.
That's so sad.
It's really sad. She's
really sad.
Crazy weighty. Crazy weighty.
She's going to listen to this and be like,
she'll listen.
Things are crazy.
I tell you, these days, I don't go to the doctor unless I need CPR, because I've lost my trust in them. I really, truly have lost my trust in them, sadly.
Yeah.
So, do we have any last minute?
I think we ended up on a good note.
It's a good note.
Just, again, it takes you to acknowledge what you need to do. And don't let your past define what your future could be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That seems like something that you'd find in a fortune cookie. But it's true.
Yeah. It's so true.
I think I need to find a new job of a fortune cookie.
Or a marketer. You could be a good marketer.
I don't think so.
If you need help, Coach Darcy and I are here. My schedule is, did you see my tweet yesterday? My schedule is officially full until the 16th of April. I do have a waiting list that I have started. And so it will be first come, first serve after I reopen my schedule. I want to be able to focus 100% on my clientele that I currently have. And if my schedule gets a little weedy, I just lighten it up and I give new enrollment dates. So I do have a waiting list. First come, first serve. Coach Darcy has immediate spots available. So in our show notes, you're going to find both Coach Darcy's page and my page, and you're going to find our Facebook. You're going to find all the things in the show notes. So we try to spice those up a little bit and make sure you got everything you need over there. All right, guys, we will see you next week. We release a new podcast every Tuesday, and so we will see you next week. Take care and know that you can do anything you put your mind to. You just got to get mad enough and stubborn enough to get it done.
That's right.
All right, guys, we'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Oh, 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 oh.